Hey everyone, Andrew back again and welcome to another video, and it's Saturday, so I'm here with another slasher review as part of the TheHORRORmans Slashback Challenge series. And this week's theme, I'm really happy that Joe decided to take one of my recommendations into account and do this particular theme. So this week's theme is low-rated slashers. So towards the tail end of the challenge last year, we did high-rated slashers, where Joe wanted us to basically review a slasher film that was rated 5.0 or above on IMDb. Well, this is essentially the opposite. So this week, the whole idea behind the theme is to review a slasher movie that gets a low rating on IMDb, so anything below a 5.0. So I've decided to go ahead and review Camp Slaughter. This one only gets a 3.8 IMDb rating. So yeah, I'm going to be reviewing this one, and let's see if I think it deserves that rating or if I think it deserves something slightly higher. So Camp Slaughter is a mid-2000s slasher movie. And this one is a pretty interesting concept, actually. So this one essentially takes place with 4 people, and they're basically on a road trip. Their car ends up breaking down and they come across these people from a nearby camp. However, it soon becomes pretty apparent to these 4 people that things are pretty strange. The people are overly friendly, they dress like they're from the 80s, they talk like they're from the 80s, and that is because these people within the camp are trapped in a time loop, and basically they're repeating the same day over and over, and they have done for the past 24 years, and they have to basically go through killings every single day. So yeah, it's basically up to these 4 people to break the camp's curse and escape this time loop that everyone seems to be trapped in, including the 4 new people that have arrived at the camp. So that is essentially the storyline to this one. Now I'll move on to my thoughts on Camp Slaughter. I had a lot of fun revisiting this one, and it had been quite a while since I'd seen it, and I enjoyed it back then. And I've got to say, my opinions really haven't changed. I still really enjoy this one a lot, especially for the whole time loop concept and premise within this movie. I think it works really good. It's something a little bit unique and different, and yeah, I thought it was pretty awesome. So I think it definitely deserves a higher rating than a 3.8, but we'll get to that throughout this review. So first and foremost, we'll talk a little bit about the location. So obviously, as you can pretty much tell from the title and my quick rundown of the synopsis, this one is a camp slasher, and the camp is awesome. It definitely reminds me of all the great camp slasher movies from the 80s, Friday the 13th, Sleepaway Camp, and The Burning, just to name a few. So it's definitely got a really amazing camp setting, vibe, and atmosphere. So the location is on point. Now for the storyline, I thought the concept was fantastic, how they were sort of trapped in this time loop, and it was up to these outsiders to try and help them break this curse. I'm not going to delve too much into it because there's a few twists throughout the movie, and I really don't want to spoil too much. But all I will say is I thought the premise and the whole sort of time loop concept was awesome, and it worked really well. As I said at the beginning, something pretty unique and different. So I really liked that aspect to the movie a lot. The characters I thought were all really good. Now this is a pretty low budget slasher, but I was pretty impressed with all the characters. And there's a lot of characters within this movie, and you sort of get a pretty good rundown of all the different characters throughout the film, which I really liked. So it doesn't really just focus on particular characters, it focuses on pretty much everyone within this camp, which I really liked. So that was pretty cool, and they all offer something completely different. There's all different personalities within the cast and characters within the film, which was pretty cool. There was no really dislikable characters at all within this film. Pretty stereotypical slasher characters, but yeah, all really, really good, I thought. The killer, I will say, I don't really want to give too much away because there's a lot more to the killer than initially meets the eye, so I'm going to keep it kind of brief on that. But I did really, really like the whole sort of concept behind the killer and killings, and that's all I will say on that. As for the kills, very, very reminiscent of old school Friday the 13th movies, especially the original film. It definitely is really a love letter to the original Friday the 13th, and it's definitely got that sort of kill style to it, and it all works really, really well. There's a really, really high body count within this movie, including one particular scene featuring a bow and arrow where multiple characters die within a very, very short time. So that was really, really cool. But yeah, there's a really, really high body count. There's good variety with the kills, but as I said, very, very reminiscent to the original or the early Friday the 13th movies. And that's really a good way to sum up this movie, honestly. It's really essentially a love letter to camp slashers from the 80s, really. Friday the 13th, The Burning, Sleepaway Camp, stuff like that. So I really, really enjoyed that too. Now, as for how I would personally rate this movie, I think it's well above a 3.8 in my opinion. I would give this one probably about a 7.5 out of 10. So as you can see, my rating compared to IMDb is quite significant. So yeah, it gets a 3.8 on IMDb. I think it is way too low. As I said, I give this one a 7.5. So there you go, guys. That was my review for Camp Slaughter. If you haven't seen this one, I definitely highly recommend it. Really interesting and slightly different and unique premise to this one. Some good kills and just a really, really awesome 80s throwback camp vibe within the slasher for sure. So yeah, that is my review. If you've seen this one, please let me know what you think of it in the comments section below. And if you haven't, I definitely recommend it. Anyway, guys, that is it for this week's review. Until next Saturday when I'll be back with another one. I hope you've enjoyed this review, and as always, thank you for watching.